Hello and welcome to GDA Conversations. My name is Raj Hajaria, Technical Manager with Gulf Downstream Association. Gulf Downstream Association is a non-profit association established by the NOCs of the GCC. The main objective of this association is to create a platform on which all the players of the downstream industry can share knowledge and experience. GDA Conversation is a series in which we talk to the subject matter experts and industry leaders on the topics of common interest. My guest today is Mr. Prakash Chugani. He is the Director of EQ Training and Consultancy. He is also a certified NLP and leadership coaching. He also teaches negotiation and conflict management in the SPGen Global Management School. So without further ado, let me invite Mr. Prakash on this session. Welcome, Mr. Prakash. How are you?
Very nice, Raj. Thank you so much. Thanks for that lovely introduction.
Mr. Prakash, you know that we are living in a very challenging times. Everyone is worried about the future.
Yes.
Everyone is worried about how we will come out of it. Will we sink? Will we swim? What is the situation? No one knows. So we need to, find out how can we face this challenge and not only swim, but actually thrive in these times.
The times are very, very challenging, and the rate of change that we are seeing is unprecedented. In fact, I believe that the way we have this whole world constructed, if there's one thing that is constant, it is change. And so we may say that the rapidity of the change is probably increasing, times are unprecedented. To me, I honestly feel that this is a part of life, and it's change which is constant that is what we are facing in the world. We have, in fact, for quite some time now already placed a brilliant tagline to the way we are seeing change, and we call it VUCA. We're saying that there's absolute volatility, there's uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity that we face in this world right now. And so it's because of this sort of VUCA that we are experiencing in the world today. We also have, along with that, something like stress, anxiety, frustration, as well as a lot of fear that has actually come into this world, which we can see, especially now, growing in a pace which we have not seen before. The rate of depression has gone up by 20% in the world. The amount of fear that is there in people, because of which there are a lot of ailments that people are getting, is also unprecedented. And so it's very important that we start learning how to adapt and learn during these times. Because to me, learning is the first aspect of any change. If I'm able to understand and learn from what is happening around me, that's when I'm able to adapt openly. Because if I'm not learning, then I'm going to be the same. And if I'm going to be the same, I'm not going to be able to change anything at all. And so what is it that I'm learning from whatever is happening around us in the current moment is an aspect that I need to try and get really serious about. So the learning and the adaptability would be able to come in the antidote of VUCA, which is vision to start with, understanding, which is the U, the second aspect of the learning and adapting. Third one is clarity, and last but not the least is to be agile. So if I'm going to be able to, and I look at each of these separately so that we are able to move into the antidote for VUCA and to see how we can adapt and learn in this ever-changing environment. So let me start with the first aspect called vision. If there is a huge amount of stress, anxiety, fear, and a huge amount of frustration, what is the role of vision in this particular area and how we can bring in vision that will support us? So let me start off with an interesting quote. There's this saying, and I think this was Emerson, who mentioned this very nicely. He said, the world makes way for the person who knows where he's going. So if I have a vision, to start with a vision for what? Not a vision for the world, a vision for the country, organization, but to start with my own personal vision. How do I look at myself, and what is the purpose that I have actually started having for myself? It's so important that I have a clarity of myself in terms of what am I here to do. It was a beautiful quote. It was by Mark Twain, who said, two most important days in your life. One is the day you were born. Two is the day you know why you were born. And so knowing why I'm over here is the vision that I'm talking about, the purpose that I'm here for. There's a saying that money goes, or money lost, nothing's lost. Health lost, something's lost. Character lost, everything is lost. I believe even character today, to a large extent, there are so many ways we can learn and rebuild character. But there's one thing we should not lose, which is our purpose of why am I here. To me, if you lose purpose, you've lost everything. Because if there's no purpose, there's no drive. If there's no purpose, there's no motivation. There's no direction in life. And so if there's so many things happening around us, and if I lose my own purpose, then it's so easy for me to get trapped into negative emotions and unnecessary thinking. But if I have a purpose, and if I realize that this is my purpose, and once I know my purpose, I can start seeing on a daily basis, what is it that I am doing to fulfill my purpose? And that keeps me moving forward in life and progressing slowly but steadily. So first is about yourself, your purpose, but also understanding yourself and having a vision of yourself, which is far more than probably the vision that we normally get because of a few failures that we faced, because of a few tags that people have put on me. So for example, one of the things that we always look at ourselves is, I will be very calm, I will be very peaceful after all these things go away. Once the environment outside becomes nice and calm and quiet, I will also experience calm and quiet inside. But that's not the way I should look at myself. It's very important for me to understand that I am independent of whatever is happening around me. That independence is what this is all teaching us today. Earlier, I had a lot of things in my life that I was dependent on, without which I believed that I could not exist. But today, with the lockdown that we've experienced across the world, with so much that we have started simplifying in our lives, we've started realizing that all those things that I've believed was so crucial for me in my life, I'm living without. And so the learning for me is to realize that my happiness, my peace, my state of mind, my power, my wisdom, all of them is very much in place. And I need to learn to start looking at myself more independently from all the other things in life. This COVID-19 has actually pressed the reset button for all of us. I used to live in a fancy world of titles, of positions, of possessions. What this has done is it suddenly pressed this reset button, and all those things that I believed had so much of weight today have made me ask questions. And so the vision is to really come to terms with who I am and have that clear vision of myself. And I am magnificent. I am brilliant. I am phenomenal. And I don't need all those things to actually be who I am. So that's the first lesson I need to learn. And I need to get myself to adapt into that particular space of true independence from all of those other things. And that's the vision I need to hold for myself. And believe me, when I'm actually able to have that vision for myself, I have a better vision for my organization. I can have more clarity in terms of how I can now support my organization and the people around me in achieving the goals of what the objectives have been set for the organization. And the environment is the other aspect. Now, one thing we need to understand that some things I'm concerned about, but I can do nothing about. And there are some things that I can actually influence. And so when I look at the environment and the overall space that we live in, there's so much that is not in my control in the environment. There's so many things out there. So all I can do is have this real strong direction for myself, see how I can do the best I can with my team and with my people over here to have my organization go in the direction that's required. And then allow this particular environment to, help me in this particular way, and to see if I can steer in the best direction possible, because there's nothing much I can do about the environment. But the lesson for the environment is important for me. One lesson that I learned from what was happening outside is something that collectively human beings have done, which is actually causing this effect outside. They say there's no effect without a cause. What we're seeing outside is the effect. But what is the cause of that effect? Something. So if every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and so if you see a reaction taking place globally, it's because of some actions that we've taken globally, which have not been very conducive to the environment, to nature. And so this is time for me to sit down and learn, what is the environment telling me in terms of changes that I need to bring into my life, so that I bring positive changes here, so that sooner or later the environment outside, which today can seem very negative, can seem very hostile to us, changes and shifts. So somewhere there was hostility in me that I pushed out into the environment, and today that's what is coming back to me. And so that's learning. And to me, vision is all about that. To summarize vision, it's about knowing my purpose, clarity of that space. Really, why am I here right now? What's my purpose? Bringing that into space. 2, knowing that I'm magnificent, independent of all my titles, my roles, my possessions, and my positions. That's a very important part. And thirdly, in terms of the environment, the lesson that I need to learn is I don't need to be hostile anymore to the environment. I need to start bringing in the best that I can, and I push that into the environment, so that slowly but steadily the environment, which right now is pretty hostile, starts becoming more conducive to all of us. And so that to me is the first aspect of us being able to move away from the stress and from the frustration and the fear that has gripped human beings today. The vision is going to really help us.
Thank you very much, Prakash ji, for this illustration of the vision. My question is, many of us, as you rightly said, are born, but many of us probably don't know what is our purpose. Could you provide some tips to those who do not yet know what is their purpose? It's most of us have a purpose to be successful in our career, have properties, have children, have family. These are the parameters of success or our purpose of living. Would you like to throw some light on it and help us determine the purpose why we are here?
Fantastic. That's a beautiful question. And to me, that's a very critical part. And if any human being is able to come to terms with what their purpose is, they don't need any external motivation from that day onwards. The purpose itself pushes and drives and motivates people. So for example, if you ask me, every human being has intrinsic qualities. You have some specialities, qualities, talents. You have certain uniquenesses about you. I've got certain talents, certain uniquenesses, certain specialities. And so firstly, it's important for us, and that's not going to be very difficult, so we all understand a few of our qualities. So if I ask you, Raj, what would be some of the qualities that you have? What are some qualities that you have? I'm sure you'll have, just name a few of qualities that you might have.
Sure. Perhaps one of my quality is to keep everyone happy around me.
Beautiful. Now, look at that. That's a brilliant quality. One of my qualities is to see how I can gain wisdom and share that with others. Yours is to how you can make people happy around you. Now, firstly, we just have to come to terms with what are my specialities, what are my qualities, and then see how I can express that, because your purpose truly is the expression of your own qualities in the world. Because when you're expressing your qualities, you're also experiencing it. You cannot express something without experiencing yourself. So today, if I'm sitting here and expressing something that is going to support other people, I'm experiencing it myself. And so that for me is a fulfillment of my purpose. You today are doing these beautiful conversations for people that's going to support them in these changing times, from helping them to come out of stress, come out of frustration and fear. In other words, you're making people more happier, and you are fulfilling your purpose in your own beautiful way. And so each and every one of us have got these great qualities inside us. We just have to take a pause and try and reflect on what are my qualities. And then see, how can I express this quality in every possible fashion, right? Yesterday, I went to the market with a mask and with my gloves and with my distances I was keeping. I went and bought a few mangoes. I bought them for my mother. She's about 75 years old, so she can't go out. So I went and got those mangoes for her. I was coming back, and then we have these people who clean up place. Every day on a building, you have these women who come and do a beautiful job. Sharp at 11, they're on my floor doing the stuff. So much of appreciation for them. What can I do? Instantly, I had all these mangoes for my mother. I took out 4 of them and gave it to them. And they were so happy. They were so pleased. They said, thank you so much. Now, for me, I just felt a very beautiful space of happiness entering into me without doing anything that I acquired from outside. I didn't get any promotion. I didn't get any extra title. I didn't get no, let's say, accolades for achievements that I did. But I just saw how a small act of kindness brought so much of joy in somebody, instantly pleased me. And so I see that in every phase of our life, if you're just able to do small acts of kindness, everybody will start seeing how their purpose is fulfilled through those areas. And so then, also in the workplace, I don't come to work believing I'm just working, but I need to see how I'm fulfilling my purpose at work as well. When I'm working, I'm connecting to a customer, to a client, to a vendor, to my senior, to my counterparts. Am I just doing that mechanically? Or am I able to bring in my values while I'm doing that, my specialities? I'm able to see that I'm extending it. And when I start seeing that, I start having far more happiness, far more engagement, and absolute motivation. And believe me, then a lot of the fear is gone completely. There's no thought about fear.
So perhaps the way I understood is we need to locate our areas of passions where we are passionate, and maybe in those areas we can find the purpose of our life. Thank you very much. I think this will help all of us to find our purpose and also convert that purpose into a vision which will drive us through all the challenges which we face in our day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
The next element of your VUCA?
Understanding. The next one is understanding. To me, I feel the curse of cooperation today is competition. There has been so much of competition, and we've become so blinded by competition today that we have forgotten to cooperate. We have forgotten to understand each other. We've forgotten to understand why we are doing what we're doing. We are so driven by just wanting to be the number one, to be the best, to be over there. And in that space, we are trying to pull other people down. We're trying to hurt others. And we don't even have time to understand our people who are close to us. And so we see today that in the world around, there's a huge amount of problems in relationships. In fact, to me, if you ask me what's going to be the biggest problem that we're going to face as humans soon, I would believe that there's going to be problems in relationships. It's so difficult today to find people to come together, to live together, to be amicable, to have understanding, empathy, to live with love and warmth in a particular space. It's becoming so difficult to do that within family members. Imagine extending that to colleagues, to counterparts, to various other relationships that we are subject to on a daily basis. So this competition, what has happened is it's blinding us, and it's really making us go so much into that one direction, not even bothering about understanding people. I mean, when I get into business, for example, I say, you know what, I need to contribute towards making or bringing in good energy into the world. The energy that I bring into the world, there's going to be factories, there's going to be manufacturing, there's going to be logistics, transportation, everything, the works, from energy in homes to energy at workplaces, to us moving around in the roads from the cars and the trucks. So I come with this intention of seeing how I can supply energy so that we have a beautiful world outside. And that's a beautiful intention to start with. However, as you go down the line, this energy and the intention, which was pure at one point in time, gets corrupted, convoluted. It gets in some way I become a little bit more narrow visioned. And then I forget the big picture with which I started off. And then I lose my beauty and brilliance in relationships. And then it's all about work, business, and targets and achievements. And that's it. I don't even appreciate the people who come in and give me so much of business. I've stopped doing that. And so the learning for me today in a VUCA world is understanding. Learn to start understanding and appreciating people. Learn to bring love in relationships. Learn to bring compassion. Whilst we need to be courageous today, but remember, compassion is the key term for me. You know, there was a nice saying that there is more need in this world, or there's more thirst in this world for love and appreciation than there is for bread. That's the kind of hunger we have in this world. So we've been very mechanical. And today, I believe, when there is so much of doubt, there's so much of fear, anxiety, if there's understanding, there's cooperation. And when there's cooperation, we can do so many things together. When we just, even if somebody doesn't come and help me at a practical level, even the fact that they are with me, they say, you know, Prakash, I'm with you, don't worry. During the COVID-19, you won't believe it, I've had so many people sending messages and calling me up and saying, hope you're safe, hope you and family are safe, where are you right now? We've not been in touch for so long. They have never done that for 20 years. But now they are concerned and they're caring truly, and they want to know, how am I doing? It just shows how we've been so driven in this busyness of this world that we've forgotten to understand each other. But now when you know that, and so why are these people sending you these messages? Just to let you know that you're not alone in this move. We are all together. So continue with courage. So in life as well, understanding is second to none in terms of what helps you to move forward. I remember an exercise I do in my workshops, you know, when I do a lot of leadership workshops for senior people. I make a person stand on one side of the room and I ask him to walk on a straight line from this end of the room to the other end of the room. And he walks very easily. I ask him to walk back, he'll walk back. I say, okay, now that was so easy. How much of space you wanted in terms of the breadth to walk from one space to another space? He said, well, I just wanted probably 1 feet was what I needed to walk from one side in terms of a breadth. I said, okay, so I'll give you 2 feet. I give you 2 feet of breadth, or maybe 3 feet. And from there onwards, there's an abyss. There's nothing that exists. There's just that 3 feet of let's say, surface. Outside of it, there's nothing. Imagine there's a huge abyss. Probably if you fall, then you go down, say 200 meters. Would you walk so powerfully, so easily? You'll say, well, no, I will still be a little scared because although it may be 3 feet, but outside that, there is some danger. So I'll really still be scared. I said, why? You just need 1 feet. You got 2 extra feet. Still you'll be scared? I said, yes, I will still be afraid. Now just imagine, this person will never use the other part of the floor, but just the fact that it is there, he feels confident to walk. Similarly, I think understanding is all about helping people know that we are here with you. That's all. You don't have to do anything also, but just assurance that we are here with you. We understand what you go, and listening to their problems. When they want to tell you something, listen. Do not say, you know what, I know what you say. I know your problem. It's okay. Move forward. This is what it is. This is what we should do. Let's go there. No, but listen to them empathetically. And that's a very important skill. If you want to really understand people, I mean, how can I understand if I don't listen? So we got to listen to people and understand them. And when they feel understood, they are ready to understand us. They're ready to listen to us, and they're ready to support us. And so for me, that is the second part, understanding.
I think that was a great analogy of raising the guy up 200 meters above the ground and then let him walk on that narrow strip. Understanding, if I understand correctly, is something like emotional intelligence. Seek to understand the other, then to, explain him your understanding. First, seek to understand the other, and then try to tell your understanding, which
Yes.
we not do. We normally just go ahead and tell our understanding without caring about what others understand. So putting me into your shoe is probably one way of understanding how he feels. That's a great lesson. And I think this is the need of the hour. As you rightly said, when you are locked in your room, in your house, perhaps with nobody, maybe there are people who are scattered in the world without their family members, together. And they could be probably, waiting for such small message appearing on their WhatsApp, how are you? That will do wonder in their this loneliness or this period of solitude. Thank you very much. So the third element.
So the third element is clarity. Clarity to me comes with simplicity. You see, let me give an analogy. You have a horse-drawn cart. A cart is being drawn by the horse. And every day we add more and more load on the cart, but we don't take care of the horse. The horse continues to go, do its work, come back, every day goes and comes. And on a daily basis, I keep increasing the load on the cart. What do you think is going to happen after a month where I'm not taking extra care of the horse, but I'm just going on increasing the load on the cart?
Obviously, the horse will give up or the cart will break.
Yes. Supposing I have that also eventually happened. The cart will also break, but definitely the horse, if it's not taken care of, the horse is going to be completely devastated after a month if it's not going to be taken care of. Similarly, I'm talking about the horse and the cart. What I'm talking about here is the cart, which is actually having a lot of load that's going on, being built inside over here, is the amount of responsibilities and the thinking, the add-ons that is going on, taking place in the mind. Every day our responsibilities are growing. Our thoughts in terms of today, especially the kind of news information that's coming, there's more and more build on the mind. There's one on top of the other. And so if I'm not going to look after this particular horse, which means if I'm not going to look after the person who is the mind, who's carrying all these thoughts, then I'm not going to do, very soon this mind is going to collapse. The mind is going to reach a stage, because they speak about, let's say for example, stress. When there's stress in the head, it's trying to tell you that, Prakash, stress is like a messenger that says, Prakash, something has to change quickly. And if I ignore that, and if I continuously keep getting stressed, and if I'm not changing anything, then this stress will manifest into diseases later on. Definitely. That is why they see most of the diseases are psychosomatic. And they are really difficult diseases that start with just the mind, with the psycho, right? So I need to start listening to what the stress is telling to me so that I'm able to clear something off. I'm able to change certain things. So what happens is, in the mind, there are all these thoughts that are constantly being built up, too much of thinking. And I'm thinking about things that I have no control over, things that I have absolutely no charge of, but still all of them coming to my mind. And so clarity is about getting rid of all the unnecessary in the head, keep only that which is needed, so that I'm able to move forward. I'm able to keep the horse in the right fashion. It's not taking too much of load, because sooner or later it's going to collapse. I'm not going to help it much. And so what is it that I need to do to really clear the space? There's a technique called SOS. From time to time, because as I wake up in the morning, I'm subject to news, information, I'm meeting people, talking, watching, and so it goes up. And so I need to imagine the same rate as I keep going up to the evening, to the night, massive load on the head. So am I doing something through the day that is helping me to clear things off inside? And so SOS is a beautiful technique. Through the day when I practice, I can just clear the mind off from anything that's unwanted. S means stand back. O means observe. And S means steer. So stand back, observe, and steer. It's a beautiful technique for you to be able to clear the mind in a few moments. let me do you a beautiful example. So let me just demonstrate an SOS and how I do it in a very nice fashion. So first I just help myself to visualize that and whoever's watching can actually do this visualization as they're listening to me with your eyes open, how you feel comfortable, but just visualize this. Of course, make sure you're not moving. You must be stationary while you're doing this. So just visualize yourself standing on a platform, on a railway platform, and you're watching trains on both sides of the platform, arriving and departing, arriving and departing. And you're not touching any train, you're not holding any train, you can't do nothing to the trains, but all you're watching is them arriving and departing. Similarly, I am watching my thoughts in my mind right now, arriving and departing, arriving and departing. I'm doing nothing to them. I'm not holding them, questioning them. I'm not getting attached to any thoughts. I just watch my thoughts come and go, come and go. And so by doing that, I'm actually getting myself used to a very beautiful aspect of power where I'm not letting the thoughts affect me, but now I'm going to think about a thought that I want to create. And so I create a very strong and powerful thought, a thought that I am independent of the environment. And I'm a person who is a master of my thinking. I create my thoughts, and my thoughts become my words, actions, and of course in future, that's what becomes my feelings, my character, and my destiny. So it's my thinking that is really what I'm in charge of. And so I create a thought that I am powerful, I am confident, I am strong, I'm determined, and I can focus on whatever I want to focus at any point in time. So you see how I did right now in my mind, there's only one thought now that I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm confident, and every other thought has gone off. And so if I can do this every hour, an SOS on a daily basis, every hour. So usually in the marine signal, SOS is like, it's like a distress signal, save our souls. And so like that, it's about saving our souls. Really, it's about seeing how I can protect myself from unwanted burden, pressure, frustration, and fear, because they're all thoughts. Frustration is a thought. Stress is a thought. Fear is a thought. And so when I do an SOS, I'm just trying to clear all those, and I'm putting in a beautiful thought. You're replacing all these unnecessary thoughts with a thought that is productive, with a thought that's positive, with a thought that is useful and purposeful, because that thought will instantly translate into a feeling. And so we have to have a good stock of good thoughts that I can create anytime. And so that flushes out all the unnecessary thoughts. So for me, clarity, critical in these moments, is to keep clearing the mind.
So if I understand correctly, what you are saying is use the technique of SOS, be the observer like the passenger on the platform, just watching the train go and come, like the thoughts, without participating, without owning them as yours, and replace those thoughts with a strong positive thought you are passionate about. Would you also advise that we stop taking in unnecessary information, which cause this information overload at present, is perhaps causing a lot of stress, which is unnecessary? So would you like advise not to watch so many channels, so many soaps or whatever? I mean, I'm just, want to know your views on that.
Thank you so much for that. And let me share with you some practical experiences. Just before the lockdown could start, obviously everybody was across the world concerned about COVID-19. And I was living with a friend for a week's time where their television was on throughout the day. And therefore the news was always constantly, throwing out information about how many cases here, how many cases there, how many people died here, how many people died there. And it was just bombarding that information into people, every single, including me. And I could see how, because of me constantly getting that information, I can't but just create those thoughts. Of course, I have no choice but to think that way. And so that was not really giving me any solace. It was not helping me at all in any fashion. And that information didn't help me at all, because I was anyways staying indoors. I was having my social distancing. I was only going out if I had to get some very critical aspects with a mask on. So I was taking care of myself because that's something that I could always go and learn, go and listen to more information about what are some of the ways of preventing. Fine, those is important for me, but not anything else. And then lots of other things in terms of WhatsApp messages, everything again to do with the dangers of this and how many happened and what are the cases. So what I then realized is after that, I came into my own house and I've been here for more than a month now. Not a single time I would turn the television on. But now I will go and seek information that I want whenever I want it. So, okay, I want to know what's the status of COVID in the world. I'll have a look at it and I'll turn it off and come back on the net. I'll probably do that once in a day. Sometimes I'll do that once in 3 or 4 days, right? And so what I've found is I'm so much now in terms of clarity, I'm in charge of it. So do not become a victim of what people want to throw into your head. Because today technology is able to push things into you, but you need to still be able to manage and say, pull things, whatever you want. Don't let people just push things inside and we become garbage cans for whatever people want to dump inside. No, I think we got to choose what we want and go and take that information and move on.
That's a great tip. So we are living currently in the holy month of Ramadan, and majority of our friends and colleagues are fasting. So can we say we should do information fasting also?
Yes.
We should probably stop taking any information which is not necessary and which is not critical, and replace that time by building some positive, strong thoughts in our mind to fill it with those thoughts so that they will not allow other thoughts to even pass through.
Yes.
It's almost like blocking the platform from all the unnecessary trains to come.
Yes, true. I mean, very well said. I mean, it's Ramadan now and we're all at the space where we are fasting. And so whilst we're doing a physical fast, we should also look at a mental fast.
Thank you. And now the last element of your VUCA.
Okay, so this is agility, being agile. And for me, this is a very interesting aspect, a very, very critical aspect. And for me, who can be agile? When I look at somebody who's really agile, who's flexible, they are people who are not stuck to their past, not stuck to the past. It's very difficult for me to be agile if I'm stuck to something in the past. For me, when I look at agility, for me, children come to mind when I think of agility. How quickly they're able to learn a language, how quickly they're able to stand and walk, or if they make a mistake, how quickly they're able to learn and move forward. They're very quick learners. Why? Because they're not stuck to a past. They're not stuck to things saying, oh no, but I always did like this. Oh no, but this is how life used to be. Oh, but this is what my parents used to do to me. No. Whatever they get, they are so quick at being agile and take and move, take and move, take and move. They don't have a past that they are stuck to. And so if I need to really be agile, I cannot be stuck to the past. To start with, the past ways of thinking. I must free myself from the way I've been thinking about myself, the way I've been thinking about my environment, the way I've been thinking about my entire life. I need to realize that, they speak about there are 3 phases of life. One is AC, one is DC, and one is, so BC, DC, and AC. BC is before Corona, right? DC is during Corona, and AC is after Corona. So they're saying after Corona is a new normal. Everything is going to be so different and so new. And so my agility is so critical, because if I go back to seeing what is life like after Corona, I've got to forget things before Corona, because if I'm constantly holding on to that, I'm going to be frustrated because I don't have that no more. I don't have those things anymore for me. And so I have to learn to be agile right now and let go of the past, let go of things the way they were, and to reinvent myself every single moment, right? It's that reinvention that's important. Reinvention in terms of my thinking, reinvention in terms of the way I'm doing things, in my habits, in my actions, everything. I've got to really see how I can get myself to adapt. And it's not just one single thing I've got to do. But as we move forward and whatever scenes come to my life, whatever scenes are coming to my life, how quickly am I able to blend into that particular space, right? So they say that sooner or later, the person who survives is not the fittest, is not the most intelligent, but it's the one who's the most adaptable, right? And so adaptability is second to none when it comes to survival. And so we've got to learn to be adaptable. We've got to learn to say minimalize sometimes. So I used to get so much before. I used to go out of bounds when it came to my shopping or my habits of eating or the way I would get together or the way I would travel across, unnecessary sometimes or just for the sake of it, for the fun of it. Right now, I've got to question everything. I've got to start seeing how I'm just going to steer myself according to the new times, whilst I do not compromise on my state of feeling good, of feeling happy, of feeling great about myself. And so that goes back to the vision again, that they're all connected, right? When I am holding that vision, when I really truly have my purpose and I'm able to fulfill my purpose, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of motivation, a lot of drive. And so it's easier for me then to adapt myself. So all these things are critical for me. So adapt myself. The times are very uncertain, and therefore I need more understanding between each other. Because that also requires adaptability for me to understand people, for me to start listening to really what they want and understanding them there, and then moving to a space of clarity, and then finally adaptability, which is agility.
So can I coin a new term? We are aware of IQ and EQ. Can we have AQ, agility quotient or adaptability quotient?
Agility quotient, yes. Agility quotient is so important. It is the survival depends on our agility. Yeah, survival as in not just survival, because it's not just me surviving as in being alive. I don't think that's survival. We're saying being alive is no big deal, honestly. But living a happy life, that's truly being agile and being alive, right? So survival is not just surviving like a vegetable, but surviving with happiness, surviving whilst you're continuously fulfilling your purpose of life. Because otherwise we're just existing, and that's not what we want to do.
Exist as well as live. So
Yes.
one thing which comes to my mind is, as you said, the after Corona is going to be so different and will require so much different talent and skill that perhaps we need to start learning new skill regardless of the age. And we need to become like child. A child analogy which you gave is a fantastic, I would say, analogy. A child never stops learning, and that's why it grows. Similarly, perhaps we need to become a childlike and learn a beautiful skill of learning. So learn to learn.
Yes.
That as a skill.
Very well said. Learn to learn and unlearn the past. So you unlearn something, unlearn the
Excellent.
past, and so then learn everything else that you need to learn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prakash. Would you like to sum up your session with any thoughts for the audience who are watching you?
Well, yes, I want to assure audience, every single individual, that they are magnificent. They are phenomenal. They are great. Every human being is. And survival will never be our problem. So don't just think about making a living, but think about truly living. And it's possible. It's all inside here in the mind. And I'm sure there is so much amazing available for us in the future. We will come over this problem. We've seen from time immemorial, we've all had so many issues, we had so many problems, whether they've been pandemics or whether they've been natural calamities. We've seen world wars. We've come through great amount of, people who've been unfortunately destroyed for various reasons. But human race moves on. Things continue. Life will go on. So we will have the past behind us. We need to now be set for a new future. And this new future is not just going to happen. It's going to be created by each and every one of us. So let's create a beautiful and bright future. That's all.
Thank you very much, Prakash. Learn from the past and create the future.
Yeah.
That's how I would probably sum up your session. And I'm sure our audience will benefit from this session. Thank you very much once again. Stay safe, stay healthy. That's our
So
time.
much, Raj.
Thank you.
Safety to everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
God bless.